yeah, we're rolling still. We're here.
All right.
Keys in the building.
Yes, sir, man. It's a blessing to be here.
So we saying let the people that know don't know who you are, what you do, and what you're about.
Man, I'm 19 Keys from Oakland, California. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a designer. I'm a world changer. I'm an activist. I'm a revolutionary. I'm a polymath paradigm shifter, man. And I just come to change the world. You know what I mean?
So what brings you to London, UK?
Man, I came out here to raise the consciousness of the people and make connections. All across the diaspora, you got black people that disconnected. So creating that connection, for one, I want to learn and I want to teach all at the same time.
When you think about tonight's event, the Black Eye Store, opening online and all of that?
Man, it's a blessing to see black people come together anytime, especially when it's talking about engaging in economics, right? Because economics is that first floor to build anything to have a nation. In order to have your right media, in order to have your politics, in order to have your education, in order to have security within any nation, you gotta have an economic structure. So doing barter and trade and business with each other is what allows us to establish that.
So how do you feel, obviously, well, you've done your fam, respect, done no. So you come from like a Nation of Islam background, right?
Yes, sir.
And they have like economic programs back in the States.
Yes, sir.
So do you feel like that's the best model to adopt, like for black people in general?
Absolutely. You're talking about group economics. So, you know, the blueprint that was left behind, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, basically shows you at that time how to take just a nickel, right, and utilize that to establish group economics. Everybody put in a little bit. In different areas in the Caribbean, it's susu, right? And the Chinese have an establishment as well. I was walking down, I was over there by Piccadilly, and they showed me that Soho was like the gay part of London. And that had me thinking, because then you got Chinatown on the other side. And I said, how the hell did gays get their own town before black people did? And when you think about that, it's because of economics. It's because they come together and they have an agenda, and they take the list of items on that agenda and they work towards getting it all done. Without money, you can't go to war. And there's a mental war for our people. So the establishment of group economics looking like everybody working together. In America, the dollar only circulates 8 hours in our community before it leaves. I don't know how much longer the dollar circulates out here, but I'm sure it's not long enough. But there's black businesses out here. There's more you all can do, the same way more we can do. It just establishes communication and organization. And the first thing we got to do is get money with each other.
So what do you feel are the common issues that you come across in terms of black people coming together economically?
I think a lack of awareness on how that's going to actually affect us and the change that it actually has. A person that's never been in a great economic position don't truly understand it. You only think short-sighted on your own survival. And it's not until you have a majority mindset to where you understand how empowering each other empowers the whole collective organism. But we can attach ourselves to understanding the importance of seeing the lens of connection through Egyptian ancestry, but we can't importancize the information of seeing each other as brother and sister. So the more you got, the more I got. The higher you go, the more you can pick me up. But when we put ourselves in these positions, now we can create family businesses. I can hire you. So instead of there being a royal bloodline with the queen running this shit for the last 100 years, there can be black families with that establishment of building intergenerational wealth so we can have power and rulership. Because there's no point of having freedom without power, because you're left up to the authority of the one who does.
And do you feel like black people can organize without religion?
I think religion establishes man laws and order that's supposed to keep them in line with their spiritual connection. The problem is oftentimes you have a lot of spiritual rituals that don't really have any effect. But there's some people who are so involved in the material world, all they want to do is accumulate more. There has to be a balance. So man, of course, the white man has been able to do it with religion and still conquer the world. So we got to stop effectively using religion as our excuse. Now, I would say one of the worst detrimental things for black people is the fact that they still view the white man or white Jesus as God. So in getting rid of this Christianized behavior, right, to where you want somebody else to be your master, then yes. But even in Africa, there was always religion in some form. There was always a study of worshiping deities, right, and rituals. So we have to get out this mindset that the religion is the reason that we're not winning, because it's our laziness and our lack of productiveness and our lack of studying and interpreting religion and spirituality and God consciousness for ourselves.
Yeah. So you're talking about the necessity of religions for black people.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so there's so many different religions. So how do we know which one is the right religion?
I believe the best religion to follow is truth, right? If you actively seek truth, then you will find it. One of the biggest issues with religion is that you end up following man and not the religion itself.
Yeah, because that's an issue that I see amongst a lot of religious people. They develop like a dogmatic mentality where it becomes whoever's the person in authority, and that's where I'm getting my ideas from, rather than learning how to think critically. So,
and that's dangerous because if that person becomes corrupt, then it becomes his religion, and Islam is called Islam. When a person teaches his form of a thing to get you to follow them for his own intent and his reasons. So if that person becomes corrupt and you follow them, then by a benefactor that you become corrupt as well. So that's why I tell people to follow the truth, find the root, find the source, find the purpose and the reason of what is religion made for. If there's a people that's uncivilized, right? So you can go to Islam and you look at Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Prophet Muhammad didn't create Islam. He was given the interpretation of a way of life based on the original people on the planet Earth. And he took that study from the brother Angel Jibril that taught him that. And he said, teach that to your people because they uncivilized. They don't know how to treat their women. They don't know how to eat. They don't know how to dress. They don't know how to drink. They don't know how to think. So Islam was based off a way of life, which is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we don't have a religion. We utilize Islam as a religion for the people. Because if you a savage, then that means that I need to teach you a way to where you can be civilized. So I got to give you rules, laws, and legislation that you need to follow. But also, if the environment is corrupt and it's not based on our nature, then I have to give you rules in order for you to be able to follow it so you can get back in tune with your spiritual laws and spiritual nature. So religion was given to black people so they can be tapped back in, because none of our environment is based off any spiritualism at all. So how would they be able to live like it if they don't have a way of life, if they don't have a religion that teaches them to be in proper order of thinking?
So for me, critical thinking is a major, important thing that I believe everybody should look into.
Yes, sir.
And should be stressed.
Yes, sir.
So would you say that your religion, Islam, encourages critical thinking explicitly?
Absolutely. I was always taught to question everything. You know what I'm talking about? Like my parents never told me something that I couldn't ask about. So when you think about the church oftentimes tell you don't question God. No, if God got the answers, why can't I ask him the questions? Because if I can't answer, that means he don't know. So we was always encouraged critical thinking because we were taught that Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, right? And God moves with a very logical and rational mindset, meaning that everything in reality has a purpose and has a reason. That's a very rational thinking process for everything to be mathematical. So for you to be the deepest critical thinkers are mathematical thinkers, those who are able to spend time alone and go deeper in the process of thought. So Islam encourages critical thinking because it tells you to analyze the environment, analyze the world, analyze yourself. The very encouragement is self-knowledge. That is the most critical thinking that you can get to, because everything else in the world encourages crowd mind thinking.
Can you direct me to the sources where is it explicitly stated to analyze your environment? And you interpret it.
Well, if you go to a message to the black man, when it teaches you about knowledge of self itself, the most reoccurring thing in almost any religion is energy and consciousness. But in a message to the black man and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through his teachings directly, he teaches you how, for one, how to eat to live, right? So he was the first person to teach black people proper ways of eating and everything. So just engaging in your environment, right? Looking at the things that you intake, looking at the school system, looking at the Constitution, looking at the laws, looking at every single piece of our environment, taking a step back and seeing the devil in the details. And so even taught you to change your name, right? So it was almost an unmasking of everything to look at yourself from a critical aspect and say, who the hell designed you? You're not designed by your ancestors, so who did design you? So the most critical thinker of our time was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Cool, man. Anything else you want to add in?
Nah, man, I just appreciate the people for tapping in internationally. I think one of the biggest issues that I find out here is that a lot of people always say, Keys, man, I'm tapped into you. I'm getting into my higher consciousness, but it's not enough people around me. But I'm like, wait a minute, 30 people told me that today, then those are 30 people that need to link up. There's a lack of communication. There's a lack of organization. there's a lack of ability to dream of upward mobility within society. In America, we talk about the American dream. So we believe that anything we visualize, we can become, that we can enter new levels of classism. Out here, it's not a democracy, so the people don't dream as much. That's the dangerous thing. You have to remember that internationally, we are a majority of the people on the planet Earth. And that's all through across the diaspora. But when we're divided by ideologies, by religion, by language, by being landlocked in different geolocations, then we find ourselves stuck because we can't utilize the intellect of our brother who's been studying the enemy all this time. We can't utilize his business acumen. We can't utilize the intelligence of each other in order to rise up out of our conditions. So the goal is always become an example of the things that you want to see. And that's what I actively work on. If I'm going to preach unity, then I'm going to have unity with my brother, right? If I'm going to teach business leadership, then I'm going to have a business where I employ my brothers and my sisters. If I'm going to teach health, then I'm going to have a product to where people can intake and it help them mineralize their body and electrify their mind. Become an example of all the things that you want to see and delete all of your excuses.
Cool, man. Respect, man. God love, man.
God take over everything from your melody. Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
I'm gonna start off basics too. Your name's Blue Pill, right?
Yes, sir.
In the Matrix, I thought the blue pill was the pill that we ain't supposed to take.
You said what now?
In the Matrix, I thought the blue pill was the pill that we ain't supposed to take.
Yes, indeed. But I watched The Matrix just like everybody else. And when it got to the end, Neo had to renegotiate